market saw a major dump yesterday. A lot of people are very scared right now. I actually think that Bitcoin looks ready for a potential high time frame bottom and that Ethereum and Bitcoin are both ready to pump. In today's video, I'll show you guys a trading idea on both Bitcoin and also on Ethereum. So let's get into the charts. So after seeing a major push to the upside over the weekend, Bitcoin just saw a major dump on Monday yesterday, and right now panic has returned into the market. Guys, I actually don't think we need to panic that much, and I'm actually looking for long positions on Bitcoin. Yesterday, I caught a beautiful short right over here at the Bitcoin local top because I was expecting this news pump to get taken out. Guys, you have to remember that you can never ever trust news pumps when you're doing your technical analysis. I've made a video on this and I'll leave a link to that video in the description down below. But more importantly, we can see Bitcoin took out the low right over here. What we can also see is that Bitcoin is basically still range bound, and when we apply the range like this, we can see that Bitcoin is currently trading beneath the range low area. Now, is this a problem? No, because in my opinion, we are looking at a potential double range low deviation play. That means that the first bigger deviation, right, is going to reclaim that range low. But what often happens after a first bigger deviation is that afterwards the price of Bitcoin or any other asset is going to form a second smaller deviation over here, which means that a lot of people get trapped in that first reclaim of the range low. They start longing the price of Bitcoin over here up on that reclaim because they think that the deviation is confirmed and that the price would squeeze towards the range high. Now those people, guys, they need a place to cover their stop loss. Where would those people place their stop loss? Exactly beneath the low of that news pump. Now all of those stops have been taken out, which means that potentially Bitcoin can now start forming that second smaller deviation after that first bigger deviation, aka the double range low deviation play. Now what I'm currently looking at is quite simple. What we can see upon this push to the downside is that Bitcoin was forming several lower highs and lower lows. We saw an important high over here, there brought us to a lower low, then another lower high, and then another lower low over here. Which means that if we start analyzing this market structure over here, we can identify a significant high to break over here. Now that means that the low that brought us to that higher high over here and gave us this valid and high probability break of structure, aka the low right over here for the price of Bitcoin, makes up for a clean invalidation for a bullish bias. So where a lot of people are currently very frightened for Bitcoin, I actually think that Bitcoin is simply retracing back in towards a discount. It is taking the stops within that discount beneath the low of the news pump over here. And now this is a good area where Bitcoin potentially can start forming a reversal. So that means that you can already start looking for swing longs on Bitcoin right over here with your invalidation beneath the low, and then targeting that range high liquidity pool right over here. Once again, a full free signal for you guys. I think that this is a beautiful swing long setup for the price of Bitcoin. Another low time frame scenario where you could also be looking for longs, but we need to wait for a trigger first before we take this intraday long trade, is if Bitcoin is going to form a lower low over here. Now, what is very important over here is the timing where Bitcoin is going to form a lower low. What do I mean by that? I mean that Bitcoin likes to form the low of the day in between hour 10, aka this hour over here, and in between hour 14, so up until hour 15 right over here. Now this is a time period where Bitcoin likes to form a strong pivot for the day and also potentially a strong pivot for the week. Now I'm awaiting Bitcoin to form a lower low. How so? Did you know that Keton is one of the oldest trading ports? Speaking of trading, make sure to like and subscribe to not miss out on any of my trading related updates. Because we can see that this low over here wasn't carrying any significance at all. Why wasn't it carrying any significance? Because for a low to carry any significance, it needs to sweep an important liquidity pool. Now we can see that over here, that low front run the liquidity pool, then we formed a lower high and then a lower low. Now let's say that this low over here formed a lower low, then a lower high, and then a lower low over here, then this would be a very significant high to break, because in that case, the low that brought us to that high, aka the low over here, carried a lot of significance because it swept a lot of liquidity. Now in this case it didn't happen. So this low over here does carry a lot of significance because it swept all of the liquidity beneath the low over here and also all of the liquidity beneath the lows that were building up right over here. So if price can now form a lower low, then this high over here becomes a significant high to break, but also the low that brought us to that high carries a lot of significance. So if you can then get a push towards the upside, then you do not only get a valid break of structure, but we also get a high probability break of structure. Now in that case, I think that the local bottom could be in, and then we could be looking for intraday long positions as well, with our invalidation over here, and then potentially targeting Monday high over here. But we know that when we are targeting Monday high, we are also targeting a reclaim of that high time frame range low, and in that case, a double range low deviation play is probably gonna get confirmed, and the price of Bitcoin should squeeze towards that high time frame range high area. Many people are freaking out right now over Ethereum, but what we can see, guys, is that Ethereum is also still range bound on the higher time frame. Even better is the fact that Ethereum is forming a beautiful potential deviation beneath the range low area right over here. And what we can also see is when we look at the weekly time frame, and this is very interesting to me, is the fact that Ethereum's weekly candle this week has no wick to the upside or whatsoever, which means that this top of the weekly candle is a major draw on liquidity for Ethereum. Now when we move to the 4-hourly time frame, we can see that Ethereum is currently mitigating a very important liquidity pool. Yes, it's mitigating the liquidity pool beneath the range low, but there was also plenty of low time frame liquidity resting over here. Why was there so much liquidity resting over here? Because of this push towards the upside, giving us medium probability break of structures. What do I mean by medium probability break of structures? The highs that we broke through were significant highs to break. Over here we swing filled a high, which was very clean to me and trapped a lot of people into longs. But for example, the high over here was quite a significant high to break. The problem was that there was so much liquidity resting beneath this big wick, and we know that just a tiny little wick into the liquidity pool, exactly what we saw right over here, where we just saw a tiny little wick in towards the liquidity pool, isn't enough to mitigate a full high time frame liquidity pool. In order to mitigate a high time frame liquidity pool, you want to see a proper push into that liquidity pool to fully mitigate it, and preferably even we want to see some consolidation within that liquidity pool. Now that is also exactly what I'm looking for on Ethereum, because what we can see on the 15-minute time frame is a similar structure as on Bitcoin. This low over here, guys, is not a significant low in my opinion. How so? Because this low over here didn't sweep the liquidity beneath the lows over here. It only front runned it, then we formed a lower high, and now we are forming a lower low. So what I want to see in order to be interested in longs for Ethereum is that I want Ethereum to form a lower low over here, because in that case, this high becomes a significant high to break because it brings us to a lower low, but also we swept the liquidity beneath this low over here. So the low over here, but also that lower high over here, is a significant low as well. Now if we can then form once again a low within that time period between hour 11 and between hour 14 for Ethereum, aka the hours right over here, followed by a reversal and a reclaim of the range low, like this. So I don't want to break this high. No, I also want to break structure with this high. Then I think we are looking at a potential high time frame bottom for Ethereum, and the deviation might be confirmed, in which you can mark along Ethereum over here, up on the reclaim and up on this break of structure over here. And remember, guys, in order to get a valid break of structure, price needs to open and close a candle above that high. Not just close above that high, no, open and close above that high. We can mark along Ethereum over here, place our stop loss beneath a lower low, and then as a first target, I'm targeting the high time frame mid-range right over here, and as a second target, guys, I'm targeting the high time frame range high right over here, which, as you guys can see, offers a major RR of approximately 10.